Over the last year, I've gotten really into mock building and it's been a ton of fun. But one of the big drawbacks to it is the insane mess that a custom build leaves in its wake. I mean, you just end up with Lego in places that you would never expect to find them in. But there are ways to make the cleanup process quick and easy. So today we're going to look at some of the things that I do to make building Lego a whole lot more organized and, more importantly, fun. Let's get right into it. Keeping your build area organized really begins with how you sort your pieces. The methods you use to organize your parts is way more important than just about anything else you do. A lot of people sort by color. I mean, that's what I used to do myself. But what I found is that when you go to search for a specific piece, let's say a black 1x2, it's really hard to find that part in a mix of other pieces all of the same color. So what I'd always end up having to do is dump out all of my black parts onto my desk or floor just to find that one piece. This is not only a huge waste of time, but also means that you have to pick up all of those pieces after each building session, which is not exactly a very fun task. What I now do is sort by part type. This means that same 1x2 black plate would instead be sorted into a bin of other 1x2 plates of every single color. So when you go to look for that piece, it stands out against all of the different colors and is way easier to find. The system I'm currently using looks like this. I have these 4 sorting trays inside of a Sterilite plastic drawer system. These are great, but they're not the most cost-effective way to sort a large collection. I'd love to eventually upgrade this system into the IKEA Alex drawers, which are basically just a larger version of what I'm already working with. You've probably seen Tiago use this system in his videos, and it's actually the same system that the Lego designers use themselves. I personally think that it's the best looking system, and I'd love to do this one day. Now, one of the more common sorting systems that you'll see are these Acro Mills storage bins. I have a couple of smaller ones myself, and I think they work wonderfully for small parts and pieces that you use a lot, but aren't the best for high quantities of the same item. For example, I try and only keep my small parts like tiles and 1x1 pieces in these, and I also break them up not only by part type, but also color. This way, if you use a lot of, say, 1x2 olive tiles in your MOCs, you can quickly find them in their own dedicated bin, which is really easy and convenient. But this really only works for small plates and tiles. Larger bricks are more suited to other storage methods. Now, before we take a look at some more sorting methods that I use and how I stay organized during a mock build, I'd like to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of this video, Flexispot. Sitting down for long periods of time is not ideal, especially if you're hunched over a desk building Lego. This posture is not good for your back and can lead to issues later down the road. That's why I am very happy to talk about the E6 standing desk that was sent to me from Flexispot. The desk comes with all the tools that you need to build it and took me no more than maybe an hour and a half to have it completely ready to use. Included with the desk are these Velcro straps that make cable management a breeze, and it cleans up the underside of the desk a ton. I've also bought a separate cable tray for my computer wires, but Flexispot also sells one of their own if you prefer that. Another thing I love about this desk is that it comes with optional wheels for the bottom's feet. This means that if you have a long enough surge protector, you can move the desk anywhere you'd like in your room. Now, I went with the white legs and bamboo tabletop, and I think they look really great and match the shelf in my room too, which was pretty important to me. But if that's not your style, they have a ton of different customization options for you to choose from. They come in a ton of different colors, sizes, and even some have a curve down the middle. No matter your setup, I think you'll be able to find one that matches your aesthetic. But easily the best part of the desk is the standing and sitting function. You get a control panel that can be mounted to either side of the desk that controls the motors and the legs. It can be moved up and down with a touch of a button, and even has an anti-collision system built into the motor. You've also got a couple of programmable presets, so you can press just one button to move from your desired standing height to your sitting height. I've been loving the desk ever since I first got it, so if you're interested in picking one up, I'll leave some links in the description to where you can buy it. Thanks again to Flexispot for sponsoring the video. Okay, now before we go over how to stay organized during the middle of a build, I want to show you how I organize my larger quantities of Lego. For my parts that don't fit into the regular Sterilite drawer system, I instead have them in plastic bags. This is definitely not ideal, but I find that it helps to keep the parts that I maybe don't use as often in them. For example, I'm not a big fan of Technic, so I've got my collection of random Technic pieces all in one bag. The same thing goes for my transparent parts. They get their own bag. These are no doubt useful parts, but I just tend not to use them, so it doesn't make much sense for me to have them next to the parts that I do use a lot. If I had a larger sorting system like Tiago's, for example, these could be worked into that system and have their own section far away from the parts that I use more often. And the same thing applies for my Acro Mills bins. The parts that I use a lot are next to each other for easy access. An example of this is that I've got my masonry bricks right next to my foliage parts and some more olive green plates. These parts aren't really related at all in terms of part types, but are some of the more common pieces that I use in medieval MOCs, so I keep them together. What I'm basically trying to say here is that you should be keeping the parts that you use most often in close proximity to each other. I've found that it just makes building a lot more fun and takes away from the time that you'd spend searching for each individual part. So that finally brings me to how I stay organized during the middle of a build. MOCs, even small ones, can take multiple days to months to even years to finish. So keeping your workspace clean and sorted is really important. Starting with a clear desk is definitely a big help, but as you build, you're just gonna have Lego piling up around your MOC no matter what you do. In my opinion, the best way to keep this from getting out of control is to simply clean as you go. Let's say that you've finished a castle wall and now want to move on to doing some terrain work. Stop and sort all of your gray castle building parts back into their dedicated spaces, and then take out your foliage and your terrain pieces. Doing this will keep your space organized and will mean that you'll spend less time sorting because you don't have to separate all of your terrain parts from your castle wall parts after you're done. It is just a lot easier to clean as you go rather than all at once after a massive mess has accumulated. You can kind of think of it as you would with cleaning dishes, but of course this is a lot easier said than done. I still find myself dreading the cleanup because I let a mess of Lego accumulate as I built, instead of cleaning as I went. Though the times that I did sort my bricks after each section of a build, I had a much better time building the MOC and was less stressed over the post-MOC cleanup. Again, it's just a matter of actually taking the time between each part of a build to organize your setup. One of the ways that you can make this easier on yourself is by using sorting trays on your desk. You can find them at any arts and crafts store or just order some online. Keeping your parts separated in these during a build will allow you to dump them back into their storage system after you're done, which is a lot better than trying to keep them separated on a flat desk. And if you don't want to spend any money on something like that, you could just repurpose plastic bins from the food that you buy. At least in America, a lot of food comes in these small circular bins, and they honestly work great for sorting Lego. I think I got this idea from SW Bricks, who I saw do this a couple of years ago. It's a really clever way to save some money on storage. So that's pretty much all I've got for you today. If you have any cool tricks for keeping your Lego organized that I didn't mention here, please let me know in the comments below, because I am always looking for inventive and cost-effective ways to sort my bricks. Thanks again to Flexispot for sponsoring the video. Links will be in the description if you're interested in any of their stuff. And as always, thank you so much for watching.